Since I was 13, I always wanted to have a big family. I'm going to be 30 next month. And there is an interesting situation. I hear my clock, my biological clock ticking. I want more children. At the same time, this work on yourself, getting you to the vortex, as you say, where everybody will say, well, what did you do? I'm in the vortex. I think I have a long time to go. It takes a lot of personal work on yourself. It's not 1 month, 2 months. It may be years until I will get myself into the vortex.
Well, then you're not listening to anything we're saying, and you're not willing to apply anything. We think it should take you a day. We think you should be there by tomorrow. We think that if you would stop beating the drum of what's going wrong, you'd go right now. We think that the larger part of you is there. We think it's the easiest place to be. We think it's the most natural state of being to be in. We think that trying to get in is hard, but every now and again when you are in, you go into the vortex every single day for a little bit of time. We just want you to be aware of the difference between the relief of being in there and the tension of not being in there. And instead of arguing for your limitations, instead of getting your fists out or getting your words out or getting your thoughts out as you are defending that position, you cannot defend your out of the vortex position without holding yourself out of the vortex. You've got to give up that battle. And what we're wanting to convince you of is that your vortex is very powerful. We can feel it. We can see it. That's one thing about the vortex that we have access to that you don't. You can't see what's in there or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it, but you could emotionally feel it if you would just reach for the feeling of it. We promise you that what you want is there, and we promise you that the amount of time that must expand between your receiving the full manifestation of it and where you are right now is not a long period of time.
How do I hold in myself? How do I do it?
By listening to the fervor of that which we say. By saying to yourself, I don't believe this yet, but I know that Abraham does. I don't even know if this vortex is a reality, but I know that Abraham believes that this vortex is a reality. I am vividly aware of my emotions, and I will give it to Abraham that my emotions are my indication of my resistance, and I'm going to do everything in my power to lighten up a little bit, to not make the stakes feel so high, to take the risk factor out, to stop beating the drum of me not doing well enough, of watching my biological clock or listening to it ticking away. I'm going to accept just as a premise that this vibrational reality exists because I look out into this physical world and I must accept that there is much more to this world that we are living in than what I can explain through my physical senses. I accept that there are laws, and I know that I am a powerful creator, and I also accept that I couldn't feel this bad if there wasn't something that good that I'm depriving myself of. The badness that I feel is equivalent, the opposite side of the wave, to who I really am and what I really deserve and what I really want. And I'm going to stumble into the vortex in whatever way I can, and then I'm going to milk it when I'm there until I'm going to train myself into a vibrational frequency of more positive expectation, a vibrational frequency. I want to love the man who just walked away. I want to love him for the man that he has set forward for me. I want to love the aspects of my life. I want to be the mother of my children who are in my vibrational vortex. I want to have these manifestations. But more than all of that, I want the peace that I will have only when I want the peace that I will have only when I train myself into the absence of resistance. And we want to say to you, it's sort of been the theme of everything that everyone that we've talked here today. It's so much easier to do the work from inside the vortex. And it's so hard to do it from outside. But then your logical question is, but if I'm Abraham, if I'm not in there, shouldn't I do something about getting in? And we say, not really, just sleep more. Just bask more, just try less, just lighten up, let go of the struggle, let go of the determination to make it happen, let go of the determination, and try to trust that there's a larger part of you, infinitely interested in you because it is you, who is tending to all of that good stuff that you've put there, who will call you in, call you in, call you in. Just just chill and release and play our silly games and bask more and try to meditate a little bit. And if you find yourself in the vortex, sometimes you'll see something that will just make your heart jump just a little bit. Maybe it's Jerry and Esther drove across the desert and the wildflowers were just amazing. For miles and miles and miles, it was impossible to see that and not feel good. So then acknowledge, oh, I'm in the vortex. Flowers put me there, but who cares how I got there? I'm in the vortex. And then don't make a big deal out of being in the vortex, and don't tense about getting dumped out of it or spit out of it. Instead, just say, I'm in the vortex. I'd like to spend more time here. And then just softly try to bask a little. Try to when you discover that you are in the vortex, it's helpful to acknowledge the components that made it feel good. Jerry and Esther went to a restaurant here the other night. What is the name of it?
City Cafe.
Maestro something. They'd never been there before. The bellman recommended it, and the minute they sat down, they began to acknowledge the aspects of that beautiful place that were the reason that they were feeling the way they were feeling. It was just an opulent place. Chandeliers that were works of art and beautiful, tasteful furnishings, and such elegant people managing the place, and such experts at cooking. And it was just so easy to feel good in that environment. But they milked it anyway. For 2 hours, they milked it. They milked it until everyone in the place was in love with them, because they were in love with their moment in time. In other words, you see what we're getting at? So often you're there. Just milk it when you're there, and don't struggle one bit when you're not there. But when you're there, just milk it when you're there, and don't struggle one bit when you're not there. And just with that attention to just milking it when you're there, you will train yourself into that higher, less resistant, in the vortex frequency. And your new love will show up fast. Good time for a segment
Thank
of
you.
lunch.